Okay, so I'm going to take a couple of minutes here and show an example of a sitemap that I created based off of the Jim Himes website. So Jim Himes' site is one of the 5 that you can choose from. And what I am concerned about in this assignment, and you'll see when I switch over to my example, are, as I say, the navigation links. So that means all of the links here in the top header. It means the links here down the side, and then the links on the bottom. Sorry, those are just repetitive of the links on the top. The links here on the bottom: accessibility tools, district map, and privacy. Just an interesting side note here about the Jim Himes site. This actually is, the other kind of a sitemap. He puts it at the bottom of his home page, which is, I wouldn't say completely unusual, but you see that less and less now. And it, of course, wouldn't work with a website the size of Apple's. I mean, you all saw how long that page, that site was. But when you have, probably less than 40 links, you could do this if you wanted. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it would work better if there was just a 5th link here, sitemap that brought you to a separate page. But this actually makes this assignment a little bit easier because it lists out all the links for you in text. So again, that's what I'm looking for. What I'm not looking for are the content pieces here. So everything in the middle. This is not an exercise to look at content. It's an exercise to look at the menu items, the links off of a home page on the website. We'll get into content later on when we start talking about wireframes. So this is what Jim Himes' website looks like when you pull it up on the web. Now I'm going to switch over to the sitemap that I created for the Himes site. Now, as you can see, I have sort of structured this into 2 sections. This area here, your blue and green links, are those top level links that appeared on the menu item. I then tried to group the other links together that appeared on the other areas of the site. So for example, I have a bucket that I call administrative, which includes not only those 4 links down at the bottom, but also the search bar. Now this is important to note because don't feel as though you have to represent the visual structure of the links on your sitemap. If you notice that there are 6 links that could be grouped together but don't appear in the same area on the home page, don't be afraid to group them together in this exercise. It might give you, when you go back and actually analyze the sitemap and sit with designers, if this were a real life exercise, it might actually give the designers a perspective that for the next version of the site, actually, these links, in order to be more effective, should be closer to one another on the home page than they currently are. So don't be afraid to use a little creative thinking into how you want to group some of these elements together if they lend themselves to a different grouping. There was then that social area, which I represented in its own bucket here, and of course that email section, which I placed here. Just sort of segmenting these out as in many ways all administrative type things. And then here are your 8, I believe, top level navigation items. I'll switch back to the site quickly just to show you there. Here they are. You'll see I did not include home on that list. Home is sort of understood, and I have that with his name. So there are, yes, I think I counted properly, 8 top level links, and we'll just use issues here as an example. When we look at the issues link, there is of course then, I think again, 8 secondary links coming off of that page. So as you'll see when we go back to my sitemap, in the issue section, I then have those 8 links right here, although now I'm counting 9. So perhaps I miscounted earlier. So again, these are the secondary items. I created this in Keynote, as you can have probably been able to tell from my toggling back and forth. And I did things, like based this off of a template that I found, but it was exactly what I wanted to do, where the top level links have a different color, secondary links are in green, and those administrative links at the top, easily recognizable as something different. And I also want you to look at this because this gives an indication as to the expectation I have for the visual portion of this assignment. I mean, I've said it time and time again, presentation is a factor in grading these assignments. You should always be thinking about the way your assignments look, especially for this class where we're spending a lot of time on the importance of how things look. And I know I've said this, I put this in the comments for many of your assignments for Module 2, but I will say it again. Think back to that example in the first module, the photo of the 2 gas pumps, and how the way those gas pumps looked really impacted the way the author felt about conducting business through those gas pumps. And think about that with your assignments. The way they look actually has an impact in the way that the reader feels about it before he or she ever actually starts reading the words. So what I mean by that is, many of you, as we know from the introductory posts, work in professional environments. If you hand in a report to your boss that is sloppy and there's clearly no thought given to the actual presentation of the report, I will all but guarantee that your manager will take the content of that report less seriously just because they will feel a certain way about it before actually diving in to the text and the recommendation of what you have included. So again, presentation matters. We all don't need to be creative artists. I am not a creative artist. Again, I found that this template on the web and based it off of that. You can do the same. You don't have to create everything from scratch. It's much more important to me that I see that you have thought about the presentation than how that was created. So that's all for Module 4. Please don't hesitate to email me during the week if you need any help with this assignment. Take care.